Yo, it's your homeboy Kiiro in the building. Welcome to episode 140 of One Piece Gist. In this episode, we'll be talking about Sabo, how strong he is, and we're gonna make our predictions about chapter 787. It's gonna be a really big chapter, and we might also talk about some other chapters that are coming out within the next 24 hours. Unofficially, the early translations and all that kind of stuff. But, just to get some hype, get the ball rolling, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if some people come or hop into the hangout a little later, but uh, nonetheless, I'll start off and, we'll go from there. So, anyways, first off, I would like to apologize because this is about 7 minutes late, and basically I was in this hangout before going live, but some stuff happened on my laptop. I'll have to check out what's going on. It seemed like your standard Flash player crashing, that type of stuff, but I'm unsure because it's happened a few times in the last few days, so I'm not sure if it's Flash player and Firefox because Firefox just there's like a new update. It came out pretty recently, so that could be the issue. I'm unsure at this point. Anyways, enough with the techno babble. Let's get into the topic of Sabo's strength. How strong is Sabo? Some people think that Sabo isn't stronger than Luffy, and I disagree. I think he is stronger than Luffy, and it's somewhat obvious. Now, you might argue that it can't be obvious because Sabo lacks feats, and that is somewhat true, but given his rank and his role in the story, it should be obvious based on that alone. Even before he did anything, I already knew that this dude is going to be stronger than Luffy, just the same way that Ace was stronger than Luffy in Alabasta. That's because of his role and all that kind of stuff. And the gap between Ace and Luffy is going to be the same gap between Sabo and Luffy. And I'm talking about Ace and Luffy pre-time skip, before Luffy got the gears and stuff, Basically, Ace and Luffy and Alabasta, the gap between them then, that is the gap between Sabo and Luffy right now. Sabo is in a completely different league, and people do not even know. People think that Luffy is, ready to take on the Admirals and shit. I disagree. Look at this Doflamingo fight. He went all out. He did his very best against a half dead Doflamingo. This dude's organs are still stitched up. He hasn't healed yet. He's literally in pieces. Luffy went all out, still didn't take him out. And as Doflamingo rightly said, Luffy hasn't even awakened his Devil Fruit. So he really is uh, a rookie. And it might hurt some people to hear this, but it's the simple truth. Luffy is that dude. He is about that life, but he's just not about that New World life. He is not about that Sabo life. Sabo is on a completely different level. Hopefully, the next one or two chapters will confirm this, and we'll put this argument to rest. Although I'm kind of skeptical because it's really hard with just one or two chapters to overcome all the feats or to outdo the feats that Luffy's had post time tip. Luffy has had a lot of screen time and he has the most feats uh in the series. I mean, Luffy technically has more feats than Shanks, even though Shanks is clearly the stronger character. Even when it comes to King's Haki, Luffy has more feats and generally better feats, except the only exclusion would be when Shanks clashed with Whitebeard and the skies, divided. That's pretty much the only thing that Shanks has over Luffy in terms of King's Haki feats. But it's pretty. obvious, or at least it was pre-time skip, that Shanks was on a completely different level. Based on feats, we can't really say that anymore. But Luffy hasn't really shown us that next level of King's Haki. All he's really been able to do was, clash and knock out fodder. But there's more to King's Haki than just that. I am 100% okay. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm very convinced. And, I'm pretty convinced as well that Shanks is one of those characters that can, you know, use King's Haki in combat meaningfully. I'm not talking about, just fancy clashes and knocking out fodder, because that's not going to help you against a top tier. I mean, top tier King's Haki techniques. Dragon's got that shit. Oh, okay. I'm not sure about Dragon, but he might have it. But Shanks definitely got that. In fact, no. Shanks and Dragon both have it. Luffy, not sure about it yet. Not sure. Because, if he had it, most likely he would have used it in this fight, where he's gone all out against Doflamingo. But he hasn't, so most likely he doesn't have it yet. Um, anyways, back to the topic of Sabo. So, we've seen Luffy go all out in several ways. We've seen him use his strongest attacks, or at least his most damaging attacks, which were in Fisherman Island versus the Noah. It's the Elephant Gatling. And we've seen him use his best gear, which is Gear Fourth. We've seen that in Dressrosa. It has the strengths of Gear Second, the strengths of Gear Third, not necessarily uh, superior to either in terms of what the two gears are generally used for, but overall, it's the best of both worlds, and it's really hard to deal with. It also gives him some really interesting defensive capabilities. He can now block hockeyed up attacks. Blunt attacks are, he can block them as if there was no hockey on them, even if there is hockey, which is a very interesting property of Gear Fourth that I think Oda needs to explain a little bit better. But anyways, back to Sabo. What does Sabo have that Luffy doesn't? Devil Fruit Mastery, that has to go to Luffy. It simply has to. Um, Better Devil Fruit, I would give it to Sabo. I think um, the Marimara is a very destructive fruit. It's a logia, and it's just really ridiculous and really slept on. In fact, there's a lot of stuff you can do with the Marimara that Ace didn't really do, but we have to bear in mind that we didn't get that much screen time with Ace. Hopefully, Oda will show us some of these kind of techniques post time skip. Next, we have fighting style, martial arts and all that kind of stuff. This could be tricky because Luffy, he has really he is a brawler. He is one of the best brawlers in the series, and he fought Rob Lucci, for example. But I have to give this to Sabo. I just have to. You know, he is Dragon's apprentice, and we've seen what he can do with that his fancy dragon fist or whatever it's called. And this shit is crazy. It's hella destructive, and he hasn't even really gone all out. He's just done a few kind of basic techniques. You know what I'm saying? So we haven't really seen him go for a whole slugfest or whatever with this dragon technique. And this shit is destructive as hell. I will repeat myself. This shit is ridiculous. I can see Sabo without any devil fruit, and even without using haki, just completely destroying Grabalucci. Uh, I can't really say that it's going to be a low difficulty because it's still Grabalucci at the end of the day. But, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be that surprised if it ended up being low difficulty, because this man, he only needs to touch you once, and you're done for. It is that dangerous. We saw what he did to Bastille. Once he grabs you, it's game over. That's how destructive this man is. He crushed Burger's armor, and Burger's had that shit hockeyed up and all that. It it's this dude is no joke. He is no joke. We even saw, at least in the anime, we got some extra scenes. So we got to see what the whole deal was with Bastille and the sharp cutter. And that stuff, it's actually pretty good. He was able to slice buildings and all that type of crazy shit. But in the end, it was just a toy to Sabo. So he is not someone to be fucked with. But anyways, I think I pretty much covered it. Devil Fruit Mastery. Devil Fruit Mastery goes to Luffy. Superior Devil Fruit, this is debatable, but I would give it to Sabo, who's a superior fighter or martial artist. I would give that again to Sabo. And that's mainly it, really, when we're talking about. Okay, well, King's Haki. Does Sabo have King's Haki? I don't know. I would not be surprised if he doesn't have it. If he did have it, I'd be surprised, but my mind wouldn't be blown. I wouldn't be screaming or anything. I just be like, all right, whatever. But I don't think he's gonna have it. I don't think he's gonna get it. Uh, so yeah, King Saki would go to Luffy, and yeah, even if he did have it, I still don't think it would be on Luffy's level. Sabo doesn't just isn't that kind of character that really needs or would be using King Saki, assuming he had it. Similar to Ace once again. What of Haki overall? Armaments, it's hard to say, but I assume that Sabo's armaments is superior to Luffy's. This is only an assumption, so because basically Sabo doesn't really have that many feats to back it up. I mean, he has some really destructive feats, but this has been a combination of both armaments and his fighting style, so we don't know how much raw power Sabo has without the haki, and because of that, it's really hard to say, or really hard to quantify just how ridiculous armaments is. But I would not be surprised at all if it was superior to Luffy's. In fact, I'm very confident that it is, but again, he doesn't really have the feats to sort of put the ink on the paper, and say Sabo has superior armaments to Luffy. Observation, another tough one. I would not be surprised if he had it. Had superior observations to Luffy. However, Luffy has some pretty nice observation haki, I must confess. And Sabo hasn't really brought on any feats that would sort of lead me to believe he has a superior observation to Luffy. So again, I think this is another stalemate with both armament and observation. Although, if I was to bet, I would say I would bet on Sabo having superior armaments. Observation, I can't really say. Kingsaki, I would bet that Sabo doesn't have it at all. And so, in the hockey department, it's pretty much a stalemate. You know, uh, it's mainly speculation. It's heavily based on speculation, so we can't really say. But so we that said, let's count the wins and the losses. King Saki, Luffy gets the win. However, his King Saki is not about that life. All he can really do is knock out further, so we can pretty much throw away King Saki altogether. Devil Fruit Mastery, that goes to Luffy very easily. Superior Devil Fruit, I would give it to Sabo, um, who is the better martial artist. I would give that once again to Sabo. So it's really close, actually. Um, I guess it basically just means that Sabo, as a martial artist, is significantly, like, he is on a completely different level from Luffy. We have to remember this dude has been in the New World battling, the best of the best pre-Maramara. So even before he ate the Maramara, he was already about that life. He was already, in my opinion, stronger than Luffy. All the Maramara is really done. In fact, it's done very little in terms of making him stronger. Uh, I mean, he will become stronger eventually when he masters the Maramara, but right now, all the destructive capability he's gained from it, that's stuff that I think he could have done with a dragon technique, anyways. He does have better evasion as a Logia, But again, Sabo, in fact, this is something I have to bring up. He's really fast and really athletic. We saw this in the Colosseum when he was dealing with what do you call it? Burgess and what's his name? Diamante and Rebecca and all that kind of shit. He was just hopping around the bulls and blitzing like he was, on some 8 gate shit. And yo, we started getting some comments. Shout outs to Shisui Uchiha. Um, he says now that Ace is dead, Sab and Luffy are basically some of his favorite characters, and he believes that Sabo is stronger than Luffy. I believe Sabo is stronger than Luffy as well. It's hard to say it as fact, but like I said, it's somewhat obvious. Or it's been obvious for a while, and uh, if we look at Sabo's performance and some of his feats and his rank and all that kind of stuff. If we sit down and really put the pieces together, it's heavily implied by Oda himself that Sabo is in a completely different league from Luffy. But speaking of Sabo's level, we know let's assume that we are right and Sabo is on that level. What level would Burgess be on? Now this is interesting. Burgess has very little feats. He's done, surge elbows, post time skip, pre time skip. He had some nice feats, but post time skip, he really hasn't done all that much. I mean, he already had ridiculous super strength. Pre time skip, post time skip has shown some durability. I mean, we saw him jump down from the palace, all the way to the ground floor, which is ridiculous. That's a ridiculous feat, and he did that really casually. I think Burgess is really strong, and people are going to be very surprised within the next 2 chapters. However, I do not think he is stronger than Sabo. I really doubt it. He could be close. In fact, they could be on the same level, but we all know that Sabo is going to win this fight, and for that reason, Sabo is likely going to be stronger. How much stronger? It's hard to say. However, if you look at what happened in the Colosseum, Sabo dealt with Burgess pretty convincingly. So for now, Sabo is stronger than Burgess, and it shouldn't be that much of a competition. But then again, we have to remember, a strong character is a strong character. Even though, for me, for example, I think that Dragon and the Yonko are stronger than the Admirals. But does that mean that they're going to have an easy time beating the Admirals? No, because the Admirals are still strong characters. And I think it's the same thing with Burgess, right? Even if we assume that Sabo's in a completely different league, a strong character is still a strong character. So, Sabo might not be able to steamroll over Burgess the way he did, but still. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Very interesting to see. Hey, shout outs to Fireboy. Says Burgess is losing to Luffy, in my opinion. Maybe Burgess equals Sanji. I mean, here's the thing about Burgess. It's like I said, he lacks feats, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was stronger than Luffy. I really wouldn't. I mean, he is up there in Blackbeard's crew. And all we can really say is that he lacks feats. But the same thing applies to Sabo. What Sabo mainly has is rank, and Sabo's feats outside of his rank, you know, and his role in the story. Outside of those two things, most of his feats can be sort of compared with Luffy's feats in terms of breaking but still a sword. Luffy did the same thing to Arlong back in Arlong's Park. He broke Arlong's sword. You know what I'm saying? In terms of blitzing. Okay, now the blitzing, I had to give it to Sabo. He was able to blitz on some Gear Second shit, and this is pre-Mirror Mirror. However, Luffy does have Gear Second, so that kind of defeats the whole point of that feat. So yeah, it's I can't really say for um with confidence that Luffy would beat Burgess. I really think Burgess is a strong character, and people are in for a surprise. Now, we might ask ourselves, why did Burgess, wait for an opportunity to take out Luffy? If he is in fact stronger than Luffy, and that is a very good and fair question. And there's two possibilities. Or not two, well, I haven't really counted them, but I thought of two immediately. Anyways, we'll just count them as we go along. The first possibility is he was busy. He was busy doing something else, and he decided he'd take out Luffy later on. We've seen him with a bag, on his back. He was in the underground. What was he doing in the underground? We don't know, because that's where Koala found him. Uh, so maybe he was looking through Doflamingo's devil fruits, because we know that Doflamingo runs the underground, and that's how we even got access to the Maramara. And if Doflamingo has had access to the Maramara, he could be holding all sorts of other devil fruits, within his whole underground operation and all that kind of stuff. And that's just a possibility. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. It's just a possibility. The second possibility is that um he is in fact, I guess you could say, scared, or he just simply couldn't be bothered because he knows that Luffy's a strong opponent, and he wasn't sure he'd be able to kill Luffy, or whatever the case is. He just had his doubts. Maybe he knows that Luffy has allies and he doesn't think he can take on both Luffy and his allies. Whatever the case is, that's pretty much the second possibility. A third possibility is he never really planned on killing Luffy, and he just thought of it as a last minute resort, because he initially came to Dressrosa assuming that he would get the Maramara. That failed, and so he could have come up with a new plan, and that's what we have right now. But anyways, I'm going to read some more comments before I continue. Digital 1 to 6 says that's not a feat. Please clarify what you mean. Next, we have Shishui again. Sab was about to show him his pipe game. Burgess may run away. Fireboy says Burgess is just feedless, and the Colosseum Scuffle wasn't looking too good. Burgess being feedless, I disagree. He has feats, just not many, and the same thing applies to Sabo. Sabo has feats, just not many. I mean, if we consider the rest of Blackbeard's crew, even the dudes from level 6 input down, they were level 6 input down, but they lack feats. You know what I'm saying? Burgess, he threw hotels pre-time skip. He jumped down from what do you call it? The top of the palace, just last chapter, and he was throwing surge elbows, which are a pretty strong attack, and all he's really doing is flexing his elbows. He's not even throwing a proper punch or charging like Isabella or whatever. This dude is a monster, and he's super strong, physically at least. Uh, what else? Da, 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 da. And let's look at Sabo's feats. He's shown speed, which is nice. He's shown some destructive capability and super strength, which is also nice. Um, and okay, he's shown that he's a martial artist, which is also nice. But Burgess hasn't really, done any, like, he really hasn't gone all out. He was pretty much having fun, laughing, and all that kind of shit. But down back in the Colosseum, now we're gonna see him get really serious, and we'll see what he's all about. Once again, I'm pretty convinced he's gonna take an El to Sabo, for several reasons, but I do think he's strong nonetheless. I mean, he can be a strong character. Sabo's just gonna be stronger. You know what I'm saying? If Sabo beats Luffy, that doesn't make Luffy weak. It just means that Sabo's stronger than Luffy. And it's the same thing with Burgess. Sabo uh winning the clash against the Burgess and doing all this different shit doesn't make Burgess weak. It just makes Sabo stronger. And that's basically my point. Burgess, I think he is a strong character, and people are gonna realize within the next two chapters. Hopefully, it all boils down to how Oda does it. Even pre-time skip, Burgess only showed during a building. His observation doesn't seem at that level since he didn't notice that switching music. Um, hmm. I'm thinking about this observation thing. Well, we can consider this. Luffy uh didn't see Burgess coming, and Burgess isn't exactly the fastest character. And that's the one thing about observation is uh speed. It could just be that Sabo was just that that fast, like he was super fast. And we saw in the Colosseum, this dude, like I said, he was blitzing all up in those bullfish. But in any case, I really don't think he's going to be an observation character, regardless. So, yeah, maybe he doesn't have the greatest observation haki. But again, that really wouldn't make him a weak character. It would just mean he doesn't have good observation. Sanji, for example, has great observation haki, but post time skip, he's been taking L's all day long. Uh, But then again, let's assume that Burgos doesn't have good observation. That means that he would be an armament specialist. And as an armament specialist, losing to Sabo in the clash in the Colosseum, not a good look for him. But again, once again, this doesn't mean that his armament isn't about that life. It could simply be that, that's one thing I was saying earlier. We don't know how strong Sabo is without armament, so it's really hard to judge how good Sabo's armament is. Sabo's armament could be the same level. In fact, it could be slightly weaker than Burgess, but it really boils down to how strong Sabo's arm strength is. We don't know that. We don't. Um, Speaking of sweet chin music and all that kind of stuff, I'm wondering where Oda's going with this whole Doflamingo thing. Because I mean, Doflamingo should not. I mean, even in the state he is in, he should not have any difficulty with all this Colosseum fodder. Fodder is fodder. I think all he even needs to do is just use King's Hockey and knock them all out. You know what I'm saying? That's how low difficulty this whole thing should be. And that said, this implies that something else is gonna, or at least should. I'm not saying that it won't because you can't really say for sure, but ideally, someone other than the Colosseum fodder would come to help Luffy, would come in Luffy's defense. Some people have said maybe it's going to be Zoro. Maybe he ran away from the birdcage uh, because of his whole getting lost thing. Because if you remember, like about 2 chapters ago, he and Frankie were trying to slow down the birdcage. So, Zoro having bad direction skills and all that kind of stuff might have gone away from the birdcage towards the center, which is where the fight is happening. And so that is one possibility. But I'm unsure what Oda is gonna do. I think Zoro. I personally think Zoro's too much. That's the problem. Zoro's a strong character, but in Doflamingo State, he is too much. I mean, Zoro should defeat Doflamingo in the state he's in. So I have doubts about the theory. Cavendish, yeah, it could be Cavendish. Now, Cavendish is a strong character, but I do think he's pretty overrated. And but then again, it's hard to say exactly what Doflamingo can do in the state that he's in. He's injured, sure, but his fruits aren't really. I mean, his powers. All he really needs to do is flick his fingers and shit. You know what I'm saying? So his injuries shouldn't really impact his powers all that much. So it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say how much his power has been reduced. And that said, it's really hard for me to say if Cavendish will be enough or if he would be too much because Cavendish is a strong character at the end of the day. Either way, I do think the Colosseum, no matter what kind of state the Flamengo's in, the Colosseum fodder shouldn't be enough to hold them off for 10 minutes. That's just overkill. Some people have speculated that maybe Sabo's going to hold off against both Burgers and Doflamingo. That would be pretty epic because I mean, Sabo holding up burgers totally possible, and Doflamingo is injured, so he could. I could see him doing both. It is possible. However, I think it would really undermine Burgos, so I'm unsure if Oda's going to do that. But if he did it, I really wouldn't mind, provided uh, that he showed us a bit more from Burgos and what Burgos can do. I think that would compensate for the fact that Burgos is uh, not really delivering. Let me go back to the comments real quick. Do, 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 do. I honestly don't know why Oda chose Burgos instead of CP0. That is a very interesting statement. You see, CP0 might still be in Dressrosa. We don't know. We really don't know. You see, I thought that this whole fight would have ended within the last two chapters because we got that one cliffhanger after Luffy did the bazooka thing or the decisive blow. And usually within the last two chapters of a volume, you know, that's usually when we have the end of the big fight. So it seems like we're gonna get one more volume. There's enough stuff happening for order to stretch it out for another, eight, eight, 9, 10 chapters. It'll probably be slightly less than 10, like maybe 8, 9, 7 chapters, and then we're gonna wrap things up. But yeah, CP0, Moncherie. You see, Moncherie, there's more to Moncherie than just healing Law, because I mean, you know, I think there's enough suspension of disbelief that Oda could have done without giving her the whole heal fruit thing. We still don't know what role she's gonna play in this arc. She hasn't really done anything. Another thing is Doflamingo's keeping her all locked up and all that kind of stuff. What do you think he was doing? He was probably gathering her tears and shit. So, I mean, what's going to happen with her tears? He must have some kind of plan or he must have he must have it stashed up or some shit. I don't know what's going to happen. The next thing is his crew. I think wasn't there someone like Jura or whatever saying that she had plans to uh revive the Don Quixotes, but something happened. I think I forgot what happened, but if you remember, please leave a comment and jog my memory. Anyways, I'll go back to the comments. But yeah, CP0 might still be in Dressrosa. So we still have, or by the looks of things, or it seems like Oda might want to stretch this whole thing out for another 5 chapters minimum. But according to tradition, it would be more like 8, 9 chapters. Uh, Next is Kiiro. How come Law's haki sword cut through Doflamingo's haki, but Doflamingo tanks all of Luffy's tech? Um, Doflamingo didn't tank Luffy's hits. He took them. I mean, he was bleeding and shit from almost all of Luffy's attacks. It's just that Doflamingo's durability is on that level. It's just like, when Whitebeard had half of his head blown out. It's not that he tanked the Magma Fist. That shit blew his brains out, but he just had that ridiculous durability. And that's the same case with Doflamingo. He has eaten the damage. He has been coughing blood, even before Gear Fourth, when Luffy was just throwing them hands, he was getting hit and shit. But he is just on that level. He's just up there that he has this durability. And, think about him. Admirals can fight for 10 days. How many days do you think, Doflamingo can fight for? Probably not far off from 10 days. Uh, and that's exactly the same thing situation. And Luffy expects to beat this guy in 30 minutes when admirals can fight for 10 days. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the math. And I think that's one reason why Oda gave Doflamingo the injury, because I mean, without the injury, the bird cage is killing everyone. It doesn't matter what the fuck Luffy does. Luffy can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's not beating Doflamingo in full health in 30 minutes. Impossible. Impossible. But speaking of Law's sword, um, I thought that the Flamingos hockey game, armaments hockey, was gonna be ridiculous. Uh, but, uh, but supposedly it isn't all that crazy. Whatever. Another interesting thing was that one technique that Law used against Treble. But just overall, Law's fruit is just ridiculous, and I don't know how Oda's gonna awaken it because I think Luffy's gonna be the first of the supernovas to awaken their fruit, specifically from his generation. If we ignore Blackbeard, right? But what happens next? What happens next is you're gonna have his rivals, or at least the supernovas, the top ones, awakening whatever shit they got, and eventually Law's gonna have to awaken his fruit. And what's gonna happen? I mean, his fruit is already so hacks. I literally cannot imagine what order could add to it as an awakening that he couldn't just simply already do. Like his food is just so stupid and ridiculous. Anyways, back to the comments. Why is he still moving? Oh, you're talking about Doflamingo. It's like I said, he just has that durability, man. Just like the admirals fighting for 10 days. And Doflamingo's in the same boat. Uh, that's all there is to it. But one criticism I do have for the fight, like I'm glad that Doflamingo didn't get taken out in that manner, without putting up a fight. But nonetheless, it doesn't really seem like he's gonna end up doing much, anyways, because he's in such a poor state that he really isn't gonna show us anything new. And just overall, it seems like this fight I haven't been too pleased about it. Like Luffy has delivered, and he's really come through with Gear Fourth and all that crazy shit, the Hog Gatling and all that. But Doflamingo hasn't really done anything to impress me. He's showcased the awakening, but that's it. And he showcased the awakening after he got his ass handed to him and all that kind of stuff. Too little, too late. But anyways, get back to the comments. I do sort of find it ridiculous that Dofo's still able to move lol. Once again, it's just One Piece durability, man, and it just means that Doflamingo is about that life, you know. Just like Akaino, man. Akaino took two goddamn earthquakes, and one of the earthquakes like almost split Marineford in half. And that's pretty much all there is to it. It's like if Luffy and Zoro fought, right? Luffy's not gonna beat Zoro in 30 minutes, and I mean, I doubt he would at least. It's unfair to say that Zoro wouldn't beat Luffy in 30 minutes because I mean Zoro's destructive capability is just ridiculous. But you kind of get the point. It's just about Doflamingo being on that level, and strong characters tend to have a shit ton of durability, a shit ton. And speaking of which, Zoro versus Mihawk, it's really hard for me to imagine like what Oda's gonna do with that fight because, like, I mean. By the time Zoro reaches that level where he's ready to face Mihawk, any slash from him should kill a human being. And the same goes for Mihawk. He's the world's strongest swordsman. So any slash from Mihawk should kill Zoro. So, I wonder how Oda's gonna let the fight play out. Another thing to consider is Zoro having three swords, Mihawk having one. That's another thing I want to see how Oda plays around. But I think I know what Oda's gonna do, and yeah, this is it. So Luffy is gonna get his like basically Luffy's got Gear Fourth. His next power up will either be taking his King Saiki to the next level or awakening his Devil Fruit, right? So what is Zoro and Sanji gonna get? Now I'm not sure what Sanji's gonna get, but what Zoro's gonna get is he's gonna get a sword technique. What kind of sword technique? He's gonna get the same shit that Kinemon and Fujitora got. And if Zoro's gonna get that, best believe Mihawk has something similar. So like my theory is that what Kinemon has is unique to Kinemon. Zoro cannot learn it. Zoro can learn something different, something that Kinemon can't learn, and Fujitori's technique is unique to Fujitora. So basically, I think all swordsmen kind of lock some kind of technique for their sword, but it is unique to them, and no other swordsman can do it. That's my theory. I think Mihawk has one. Zoro, well, I think he's gonna get one, and Wano Kuni. And I think that's just how it rolls. Back to the comments. Saying my mother the impression that Oda fucked up. Yeah, honestly, the fight isn't over, so I'm a bit more optimistic now, especially with Doflamingo coming back, because Doflamingo really, he's been disappointing in this fight, specifically in this fight. The other arc, he has been about that life, but before, before last chapter when he came back from all that damage, he has been a big disappointment in this fight against Luffy. Chapter 7 to 8, page 16. Check out top right panel, far right. Doesn't that look like maybe Moria? Give me a second. I'll try and load that. But in the meantime, I'm looking at some other question. This fight is would the order wasted Doflamingo? Yeah, I agree. You see, that's my whole thing. Doflamingo was blocking the whole time. Like 99% of the fight was just Doflamingo blocking. He didn't use his devil fruit for jack shit. And that pissed me off because Luffy can beat anybody who's doing that. It doesn't. I mean, if Blackbeard is doing that, Luffy's gonna beat him. If Whitebeard is doing that, Luffy's gonna beat him. What's the point of giving this dude this ridiculous devil fruit that can furtherize Sanji, furtherize Law, do all this crazy shit, and when it comes to the grand finale, he's just blocking like it's a boxing match. Get the fuck out of here. All he did was land like two hamstrings. Ridiculous, ridiculous. But the fight isn't over. We'll see what Oda's gonna do throughout the rest. I'm not too optimistic, but at the same time, I'm not gonna, dismiss the fight since it's clearly not finished yet. So right now I'm trying to load that Moria shit that you said I should check out, and I'll check one more question out. I mean, one more comment. I got Law, or there's some X Pack a punch. Yo, what up? Says I got Law and Hawkins on TC. Not sure what you mean by TC, but yeah, Law and Hawkins. I think they're gonna be. I think they're up there, man. Like Hawkins is. He is ridiculous. He is one of my favorite supernova from Luffy's generation. This dude had observations hockey P times skip. He saw Kizaru's speed of light kick, but you know this seeing his kick is one thing, and reacting to it is another thing. And he's able to predict the future, and his fruit is ridiculous. Like if he manages to land that voodoo shit on you, you're done for. You can't beat him. It's like a Hidan from Naruto, except he can do that shit to you and your whole crew. Like it is, and that's the thing. The thing is, that's not the only thing he can do. There's more that he can do with his fruit, apart from the whole voodoo shit. He can turn himself into the voodoo doll, and there's probably a lot more. Because consider this: pre-time skip, right? All Lord did was shambles and slice people up. That's all he did. Post time skip, we have Shambles, where he's swapping personalities. We got Tact, where he's flipping meteors up and down, flipping battleships. We got Counter Shock. We just got all so many techniques from Law post time skip, and I'm pretty hyped to see the supernovas and what Oda's gonna do with them. Except maybe Bonnie. Like Bonnie, I'm kind of skeptical. I think there's very little he can do with her. She is hacked, she is strong, but I don't think we're going to see too much that we couldn't have made theories about and all that kind of stuff. Like, but I am really optimistic for all the others. Kid, Hawkins, Scratchman, the Pool. Killer, not so much. Like Killer, I'm hyped to see him fight Zoro and see his whole fighting style, but overall, I'm not too crazy about him as much as the Devil Fruit users. But yeah. What are my thoughts on observation? I think it literally makes no logical sense. I think I get where you're coming from. The general dilemma with observation is, if two characters have observation, Wait, before I continue, can you please clarify what you mean by you think observation makes no sense? Because I don't want to go on rambling when I misunderstand your point. So let's see. Top right. Looking for this Moria shit. Oh yeah, that thing. It's no Moria. I've seen this before, and I'll explain why. Moria was rescued, pre-time skip, by Absalom, and he's being taken care of over the time skip by Absalom. His whereabouts are unknown to Doflamingo, and he sure as hell wouldn't accidentally end up turned by a toy, by sugar, and all that kind of stuff. That's way too random. I think Doflamingo would just straight up kill him if he saw him, rather than telling Sugar to turn him into a toy and all that kind of stuff. Furthermore, Sugar, when she got knocked out, Moria would have turned back, and by now we would have seen Moria. It's way too long since Sugar got knocked out for that to be Moria, but that was well spotted by whoever spotted it. But anyways, back to your question about observation. I'm just gonna go with the assumption that you're talking about the whole dilemma of if two people have observation, how do they fight? And this is the way I see it, right? Every time you see the future, it changes. That's pretty much what happens, because when you see the future, you're gonna do something different, and so the future has changed. So you have to keep refreshing, and the same thing happens to the other person, and he has to keep refreshing. And so the future is changing rapidly. In fact, it's changing too much for people to do anything. So it boils down heavily to reactions at the end of the day. That's one way to look at it. um the other way to look at it is simply combat speed, because as showcased in Amazon Lily, it doesn't matter if you can see something coming. If you can move fast enough, that's that. And observation hockey, just like armaments, it requires focus, and you can't I mean, well, you can, but you can't you can't just dodge forever. You have to fight it at some point, and it's gonna break your concentration a little bit. So basically, we have reaction speed as a key component in the fight. So it doesn't matter if you can predict the person's next 2 hours of fighting moves. If you can't dodge any of them, you're still fucked. And the same thing applies to your opponent. He can read you for days, but if he can't dodge a punch, he's gonna get knocked the fuck out. And that's basically what happens. Or at least that's basically what happens with these fights. Is they can predict each other and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's basically just the focus, because let's say I'm just gonna blitz you, right? Like that's my whole game plan. You can foresee, I mean, you see the future, and you can see that I'm gonna blitz you. You then have to try and keep up, and try and remember which hand is coming first, second, third. What I'm gonna do. That is assuming I'm just gonna go straight at you and just go nuts. There's a lot of focus involved, and it's tiny things like that. But overall, I think order and explanation from order would be appreciated. But right now, I think order is just, he's just like, whatever. He's just throwing it at us to just like deal with it. That's basically the sort of mentality order's used so far. Well, I think someone's joined. Am I right? No, no, no. My bad. I don't think someone should be able to dodge light speed attacks. I don't like the idea that in the first place. And if two people have observation at the same level, how do you win? Well, it's just like I said, if two people have observation in the first on the same level, then it just boils down to who the faster character is, because as showcased in Amazon Lily, you can have observation, but you still need to be fast enough to dodge the attack. And speaking of dodging light speed attacks, this is how it works. What happens is you're not reacting to the light speed attack. You're seeing the future. You're seeing that, okay, he's gonna uh let's say he's gonna do an uppercut, right? At the speed of light. So what you do is before he does the uppercut, you've moved out of the way. And then he does the uppercut, not knowing that you're gonna move out of the way. So you basically have to move at the last minute, but before he actually starts the uppercut. And that's kind of the whole gimmick or the trick behind it. Now, fortunately for Rayleigh, Kizaru wasn't just going bananas. He was kind of calm. It's Kizaru. That's what he does. He wasn't just doing some kind of jet gatling speed of light type of shit. He wasn't going nuts like Luffy or Rob Lucci or anything like that. It was kind of it's kind of tame by the looks of things in both the anime and the manga. It wasn't anything too crazy. Um, blah blah blah. What do you think of how Burgess is able to steal fruits? Do you think the one fruit max is a myth? No, no, no. I don't think it's a myth. I don't think Burgess has a fruit. I don't think Burgess has a fruit. And this is my theory on how people steal devil fruits. And this came to me last week, right? So if you saw Burgess' bag in the last chapter, it has those devil fruit spirals on it. So my assumption is there's devil fruits inside it, right? And he wants to kill Luffy with that bag right behind him, just right behind him. So what's gonna happen is when he kills Luffy, the spirit of the Gomu Gomu will go into the nearest compatible devil fruit. That's how it works. That's what was stated, in Punk Hazard. Like when that lizard thing exploded and died, it went straight into that fruit that was in the treasure box with Caesar Clown, and that's how what do you call it, Doflamingo was able to get Ace's devil fruit. Is that once Ace died, the Marimara went to the nearest compatible devil fruit, and they were able to track it down, or whoever found it put it in the underground or whatever. But that's basically what happens, and I think that's the exact same thing that happened in Marineford. It's not that I think basically the reason why Oda covered it up, in Marineford wasn't to hide the process. No, actually, it was to hide the process. And the reason why he wanted to hide the process is so that he could surprise us with the whole Ace thing, and the whole Doflamingo having the Marimara, because then people were like, oh shit, how did he get the Marimara? Ace died and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the main reason, I think. The second reason could possibly be maybe after the Blackbeard ate the second devil fruit, there's some kind of visual reaction or some kind of hint as to how Blackbeard's able to eat more than one fruit. So basically, Burgess can only eat one fruit. He just hasn't eaten any fruit. Remember, he wanted to eat the Marimara and he failed. So now he wants to eat Gomu Gomu instead. So he still has no devil fruit, but right now he wants the Gomu Gomu. It's Blackbeard that can have more than one devil fruit. But as for stealing devil fruits, that's the basic gimmick. Is in Burger's bag, he has some kind of, I guess you could say it's an empty fruit, but it's compatible. So when he kills devil fruit user, the devil fruit's gonna go to that fruit. I think one plot twist that Oda could do is Doflamingo dies and the Burgess gets Doflamingo's fruit, but I really doubt Doflamingo or Luffy are gonna die in this arc. I really doubt it. Back to the comment section. Oh, and did you see the limit of Haki coming? Is it based on how strong your will is, or do you train it to last longer? I'm unsure about this whole Haki limit thing. It could be a mistranslation. Uh, I'm really unsure about it because Haki is, willpower based, and willpower is something that's really hard. It's really easy. Sorry, it's really easy to refuel. You just need something to motivate you. So I don't really see willpower as fuel. I think it's a bad example as fuel. So what I think basically what happened was um I basically just think it's a mistranslation. Really, it's just a mistranslation. So maybe Luffy means energy or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I think it's a mistranslation. I don't think it's just hockey. I don't think hockey works like that. I really don't. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Because hockey is just focus. You need focus so they can use your hockey technique, whatever the technique is, and the willpower is sort of the fuel that you're gonna use to burn, for your technique. So Luffy has a shit ton of willpower, so he can do some crazy King's Haki shit. Zoro has a lot of willpower, so he can have some ridiculous armaments and so on and so forth. But you know, armaments having a limit, I don't think that's the case. I think the limit is gear fourth. Um, and I think what happens is Luffy needs Haki for Gear Fourth to work. Because remember when Doflamingo was trying to explain Gear Fourth, he was like, "Oh, I see what you did. You use your armaments to do some shit with your fruit or whatever to control your elasticity or something like that." I can't remember what Doflamingo said, but basically, the whole Gear Fourth thing is controlled by armaments. Luffy uses armaments uh to basically bend himself and all that kind of shit. So I think he's just mentally drained out because, that's a lot of focus. He's not just using regular armor, he's using armor and hardening too. So he has to focus uh all this time, to use gear fourth. So it's just mentally draining and he's just burnt out. I think that's one way we could look at it. But I don't think there's an actual limit to how much hockey you can use. I think, it's just willpower. So it's more of, I guess there's a limit to how long Luffy can stay focused, without before just breaking mentally because you can't just focus forever. That's mentally draining, and no matter what the task is, focus takes a lot of. I mean, focus takes focus. Back to the thingy. Did I do the Q&A vid? Nah, I didn't really get that many questions, but I think what I might do is I'll just have to look back at some of my older Q&As and just do some theory videos based on what people asked for and shit. I don't think there's much else I can do apart from that. Uh, let's see. Um, yeah, so I've talked about Sabo, how strong Sabo is. Burgess, we've talked about him. The Luffy Doflamingo situation, we've talked about him. Moncherie, Doflamingo's plans, we've talked about them. CP0, we've kind of talked about them. There really isn't much to talk about concerning CP0. They're either on the island or not. If they're on the island, then they're going to play some kind of surprise role at the end of the arc. I don't think they're going to fight. It's way too much for that to happen. I don't think anybody's going to die. Um, let's see. Koala. I'm not sure what Koala's gonna do for the rest of this arc, but I am interested to see where Oda goes with this. With Koala at least. Let's see. Trying to think. What else can I talk about really? Well, we've talked about the possibility of Zoro bumping into Doflamingo. It is possible, but unlikely because I think Zoro is too much. He is too much help for Luffy. And this was the problem from the beginning, right? Is we knew that Luffy needed help to beat Doflamingo, but how much help? Sabo would have been too much. Law is just right. Zoro, before the whole injury, was just right. But now that Doflamingo's been injured by the Gamma Knife, Zoro has become too much help. So I don't think Zoro's gonna jump in. And if he does, I will not be happy because there's either going to be some BS on Zoro's side, or there's gonna be some BS on the Flamingo side. So either way, it's lose lose. Someone's gonna get fucked over by Oda. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Um, how strong do I think Koala is? I mean, I think she's decent. I can't really say compare her to any character. She's definitely not on Jinbei's level, but the fact that she can teach, she's responsible for teaching the entire army about Fishman karate. So she is probably the second best Fishman karate character in the series. So that is something. So she is hella strong, just not as strong as Jinbei. Um, she hasn't really fought anyone, so it's hard to say, but we do know that she is hella strong because of her role in the Revolutionary Army. And she's a human too, so her skill with that Fishman karate must really be on point to really be on point for her to even surpass Hawk, because Hawk is a fisherman who has fisherman karate, yet he's still inferior to Koala because she's the one who's teaching people fisherman karate, not him. So that says a lot about how skilled she is, but it still isn't enough for me to say, she's this strong or she's that strong. All I know is that she is, in fact, a strong character, uh, relatively strong, you know relatively strong. Oh, you doing your Q&A shit now? Favorite? Oh shit, that's already favorite flavor of ice cream. I would say that's a hard one, but I would say pistachio. And the ironic thing is, pistachio is like almost you can almost never find it in the UK. It's just that I remember whenever I ate pistachio, I like here's the thing about ice cream. I like pretty much every flavor that I've eaten. I think the worst flavor I've eaten would be like a mint ice cream or something. And even then, I didn't really dislike it like that. I was still cool with it. So it's really hard to say a worst or a favorite. But if I was to pick a favorite, it would probably be maybe pistachio because like vanilla is boring. That's the problem with the vanilla. Vanilla is nice, but it's boring. Pistachio is like it's right in the middle. It's kind of nice and it's kind of boring, which is good because it's like water. You can have it without really getting bored. It's slightly boring, but not too boring. So that's kind of where pistachio is with me. Like there's a lot of sick flavors, like cookie dough and shit, but it's about. But the thing is, when you take something that really tastes good, eventually you get bored. Like there was a time that they had cookie dough on offer, right? At this joint where I was living nearby this joint where I was living, and I bought that shit for like a month, and I just got tired of it. I got fed up, and I didn't want to see a cookie dough forever, even though I liked it so much. So, but with pistachio, I don't think I can really get tired of it. I just don't. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But maybe it's because I haven't had it in such a long time that I'm kind of thinking about it like that. But that's kind of my answer to that question. Favorite video game of all time? That's a hard one, really hard one. I think I'll do it by genre. I think that's an easy way to do it. Favorite racing game? I would say either Lego Racers or Mario Kart. I think I would go for Lego Racers because I think the comeback AI and Mario Kart is extremely, extremely strong. So you could really get fucked over or you could really get salty. Favorite puzzle game? Probably Tetris or Bejeweled. And if you don't know what Bejeweled is, it's basically like Candy Crush, the original. Um, what you call it? Favorite sports game? I mean, racing is kind of sport, but aside from racing, I think I would say wrestling, but that's kind of cheating. WWE and shit like that. Maybe well, sports game. It's tough. No, it's probably like NBA or football or some shit like that. Some some kind of PvP thing. Like I like golf, but the thing is, golf games I don't really see them as They're not really competitive. It's more of you against yourself. I have more fun when I'm playing a game like, NBA or FIFA, when I'm playing against someone else. So it'll be one of those two kind of games as for sports. RPG, this is really tough. It would either go to Pokemon. No, in fact, I'm going to break it down further. Turn-based RPG. Turn-based RPG, I would go with Pokemon. Then live action RPG, I would go for Dark Souls. I like Skyrim. I like the Bethesda games, but as far as gameplay goes, you know, that Dark Souls experience is just it's really, really good. And once you've actually got the thing with Dark Souls is until you get good at the game, you hate the game. But once you get good at the game, you love it. And that's kind of how it is. So if you've never played Dark Souls, if you've never beaten it, here's the thing. Get Dark Souls, right? There's Dark Souls 2, there's Bloodborne, there's Demon Souls. Get Dark Souls, specifically that one, right? Finish it. Once you do, you're gonna thank me. That's all there is to it. Just keep trying and trying. And here's one thing is most likely if you keep dying, it just means you keep doing something really stupid. But don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. But at the same time, don't overdo it. Don't make it a job because uh, most of the time, if you keep dying in the same place, most likely you're doing the same thing, making the same mistake. You're just gonna get super mad because you're gonna keep dying, keep doing the same dumb shit. Just take a break, think over it, and hopefully you find a solution. One big problem, or one of the biggest, or one of the most common problems in Dark Souls is people don't upgrade their shit. So most people, right, or at least most noobs, if you want to call them that, they use the same weapons that you start the game with, or if they find a weapon, they stick to that weapon, right? They never go to the blacksmith to get extra damage and all that kind of stuff. And so the hard enemies stay hella hard. But once you grind, you know, you get all the resources, visit the blacksmith, get all your shit upgraded all the way to the max, you're gonna, do shit ton of damage, and the game is gonna be a lot easier. And you're just gonna love it. Um, let's see, what other kind of games? Uh, I guess GTA is kind of RPG, but I would still go with Dark Souls over GTA. Here's the problem with GTA, right? Is I love the single player, I love the campaign, but once you're done with the campaign, that's kind of it. Like once I finished GTA 5, I never touched it again. I mean, I did play the multiplayer for a while. Once I got tired of that, never touched it again. The replay value isn't that high. I mean, you can run over people, kill them, all that kind of shit, but it gets boring hella fast. In comparison to, let's say, Skyrim has a lot of replayability. Uh, but in terms of gameplay and combat mechanics, nothing is touching Dark Souls. Let's see, is there any genre I've covered? Trying to think. Game genres. Shooting game. Favorite shooting game. Oof. I would go with Doom. Yeah, probably Doom, which is hella old, so you might not know it, but I kind of miss the old games where like it was what I liked about some of the older games, right? The older first person shooters is it was just about you killing shit. All this, realism, advanced warfare, all this, shit and camping, all that none of that shit existed back in the day. It was just about shooting shit, killing big ass bosses with big ass guns, fun times. So I like some of the older ones, and Doom is like pretty much the most iconic one, and one of the more straightforward ones for people to sort of relate to or remember. Uh, yeah, so Doom, that kind of era. So one of those games, either Doom or something really similar, as far as favorite first person shooters go, or favorite shooters in general. I think I've covered most of the genres. All the other genres are kind of very niche and shit. So we're just gonna move on to the next question. If I could have one wish, what would it be? Oof, that's a tough one. One wish. I would wish for uh, a shit ton of money. I'm not sure what amount, but it's gonna be ridiculous. I would want to be now, I think I'll just wish for like a trillion bucks, just become a trillionaire. And that's gonna solve all my problems. Cause I'm not that lazy that I just want everything to be done for me, but I mean, once I have the money, because time is money. That's basically it. Time is money, and I'd rather just get the money now and start doing all the shit that I plan to do once I get rich, rather than grinding out the hours in the office and all that shit and getting the money. So I'd rather just save myself the time, get the money now, and blah blah blah. And that's just like a sort of realistic wish, right? Because and reason what makes it realistic is someone other than a genie can grant it for me. But let's say it's something more, I guess, magical and shit that only a genie can grant, right? I would go for time travel. So I would want to go back in time for like a shit ton of years. But with the current knowledge that I have now, you see, that's a really powerful thing. Not only can I correct the mistakes I made in the past, live a better life and all that kind of stuff, but I can also use all the technology, all these ideas, Facebook, Instagram, all this shit. I'll go back to the time before they existed, and I'll be the Mark Zuckerberg and shit. And so I'm killing two birds with one stone. I'm gonna become rich, which is my initial wish, but I'm also gonna correct all the mistakes I made in the past, you know, and that's good. Just gonna be super sweet, super sweet. So yeah, time travel that has to be the number one, but something more realistic will just be straight up a shit ton of cash, and then I can do a lot of the shit I wanted to do, or a lot of shit that I want to do anyways. But it's just about time and money. Time is money. Uh, if you could take anything and redo it over, what would it be? Hmm. I haven't really done anything that's like super stupid. Like get a tattoo of a dick on my forehead or some kind of shit like that. I'm not that kind of dude. So I'm just there really isn't okay, I would say probably some kind of exam or some shit that I've done in the past. I'll just do it and get better results. But that's kind of weak. There really isn't anything. I really haven't really fucked up like that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. I'm just not that kind of guy. I usually I'm a pretty logical person. So unfortunately for me, I can't really think of anything uh that I would redo. Any single thing. Like I would redo like a lot of shit, you know, like I would just straight up go back in time and just relive my life with my current knowledge. I could do that, but to pick a specific thing, a single thing to redo, you know, it's just really hard because most of the stuff that I would redo, aren't even all that big of a deal because I don't really fuck up like that. Biggest pet peeve, eh, I don't know. Uh, I don't. I don't really have pet peeves. I mean, I have some obviously, but again, I'm just chill. I guess maybe something related to noise. I'm not a big fan of noise, so uh, staying somewhere where there isn't much noise, that's awesome. Uh, let's see, favorite subject, man. Favorite subject would be physics, but ironically, uh, we live in a world where you're either like unless you're super duper ridiculous at physics, you're not gonna get a good job. You're gonna become some kind of teacher or some shit. Not worth it. So I mean, or you could be an engineer. There's that, but That's more physics plus math and calculus and all that kind of shit. Now I'm just talking straight up just physics because I'm a lazy person, you know. That's the thing. I don't mind math. I'm just lazy, you know. And the further you get into math, you have more and more steps, you know, like in calculus and derivatives and shit. Shit just gets more and more complex. It's not really difficult. It's just complex, and I don't like complex. I like simple. I like lazy, and that's me. What keeps me motivated in life, and my favorite hobby? Interesting question. Motivated. I guess I still have my ambition. That's the thing. That's it. I'm still ambitious. You know, there's a lot of things. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of things I plan on doing. You know, I want to live a full life. You know, and I have a shit ton of stuff on my bucket list, and those things I could say I guess you could say those things all together keep me motivated. Favorite hobby, playing games. I guess if you count that as a hobby. Otherwise, watching movies, eating food. You know, I mean, just enjoying myself. You know. Let's see. Other than that kind of stereotypical shit, hobby. You know, I guess you could say reading manga. But you know, that's kind of too much of a giveaway. What else could I say as a hobby? Hmm. Well, I can solve a Rubik's Cube, but it's not really a favorite thing. Like, it's not something I just do whenever I'm bored, you know. It's more like a phase, you know. Like, I'm either in the mood or I'm not in the mood. It's not really an ongoing thing. Why does Akainu hate Luffy so much and not Shanks, not Blackbeard or Shanks? Here's the thing. Blackbeard, I mean, Akainu doesn't hate Luffy. He fears or doesn't, or he fears what Luffy might become, which is a super strong pirate because he knows that dragon's a problem and the son of dragon could be a problem as well or a bigger problem. So it's more of a testament to how much of a problem dragon is to the Marines or how strong Dragon is, rather than Akainu straight up having any beef with Luffy. He really couldn't care a shit about Luffy. He doesn't like pirates in general, and um the son of a strong pirate is a problem to him, and that's why he wanted to kill both Ace and Luffy because Ace was the son of Roger, and Luffy is the son of Dragon. But it's interesting that he prioritized the Luffy over Ace. So this means that that dragon could potentially be a bigger problem, at least in the mind of Akainu, than Goldie Roger. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, you know, I am really interested to see both Akainu and, of course, Dragon's backstories. I have a feeling that Luffy's mom, you know, we don't know Luffy's mom. And I think the absence of his mom is connected to why Dragon does what he does. You know, I think she was a slave and killed or something along those lines. You know, I don't have any concrete theory. This is pure speculation, but I think it's going to be something along those lines, man. I really do. Uh, duh, duh, duh. Why did I say I'm from the UK? I'm not from the UK. I just live here. Like, I live in London. I used to live in Newcastle. I moved to London like in January. Du-du-du. Oh shit, yo, there's a shit ton of people from London. Yo, y'all should be sleeping, man. You see, the reason why I do this shit so late, right, is because there's a shit ton of people in the community, you know, from the West, you know, from North America, Canada, shit like that. So, you know, for their sake, you know, I do my shit like midnight over here, just so that you know they're not eating lunch and shit when I'm doing a stream. But yo, shout outs to all the dudes from the UK in the chat. Yo, ridiculous, man. Uh, do, do, do. Okay, you know physics. If Blackbeard is creating black holes, shouldn't Ace be flying towards Blackbeard at a speed faster than speed of light? Um, Well, the thing is, are those really black holes? I guess that's the question. Because if they really were black holes, then they would probably, I mean, it would do more than suck an ace if it was a real black hole. I mean, the whole island and shit would be sucked in because black holes are nothing to play with. Uh, and an interesting thing about black holes is that it's mainly gravity. It's not like a vacuum cleaner or some shit as one might assume. It's more of just a ridiculous amount of gravity, and the gravity is so strong that the light is sucked into it at such a speed that it's invisible and it's just black. But one another interesting thing about black holes is most of the things we know about black holes are pure speculation because you know there are no nearby black holes. A lot of it is heavily based on speculation, uh, and that's it. It's very theoretical. So your guess about what would happen is technically as good as anybody's. Technically. Um, but of course, if you want to go scientific and what scientists say and shit, then yeah, it's the whole gravity thing. Du-du-du. So, what fight are you most uh, hyped up to see? Oh shit, yo, someone joined. Hey, yo, shout outs to Juice the Kid in the building. What up, man?
It was cracking, bro.
Yo, we talking about Sabo, Burgess, Josh and CP0, a shit ton of stuff. And just recently, we were just doing some Q&A shit, like talking about favorite ice cream and all that kind of shit. So I'm just gonna go over the questions that the chat asked me to see, because I'm sure some of them might be interested in what. All right, so favorite flavor ice cream.
Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Favorite video game of all time. I know this, but I mean the chat don't.
Majora's Mask.
If you could have one wish, what would it be?
To give it to her long style.
Watch out. Alright. If you could take anything and redo it over, what would it be?
Uh, reading reading One Piece.
Biggest pet peeve.
Non-factual people.
Favorite subject.
Like school type.
Yeah.
Gym.
What keeps you motivated in life?
Uh, getting these checks and spreading these cheeks.
What's your favorite hobby?
Uh, collecting these checks.
Hey, Fireboy said you got a fresh lineup. Yo, don't be fooled. That's on Photoshop, bro.
Wait, Fireboy's out there?
Yeah, he. Oh, you can't see the chat. I'm gonna link it in the. I'm gonna link it here real quick. Luffy versus Sabo. What do you think about the new deep? Oh, yeah, some more questions. But yeah, Luffy versus Sabo. Like, I think it's pretty obvious. Like, that Sabo is stronger than Luffy. Now, it is speculation. I mean, based on feats, Luffy can be argued as being the same level or stronger and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it's heavily implied by Oda himself that Sabo's on a completely different level from Luffy, and UW should stop with all this bullshit. You see, that's the thing I like saying about UW. When I tell him he's a Luffy fanboy, he disagrees, but it's shit like this, because he's gonna disagree with this with a passion, when it comes to topics like this. Sabo is stronger than Luffy. I mean, it's kind of obvious now. Luffy has more feats than Sabo, but that's just because he's the main character. I mean, Luffy had more feats than Ace back in Alabasta. That didn't change shit. He was still weaker. Luffy has more feats than Shanks, but Shanks is still a stronger character. And that's just how it rolls.
I agree.
So, all right, I thought you were gonna say something else.
No.
What do you think about the new DBZ show? Man, yo, here's my thoughts. I mean, I don't follow DBZ like that. I ain't even gonna front, but I feel like they're beating on a dead horse, bro. Like they're milking this shit to the max. They're giving them blue hair, pink hair, green hair, yellow hair. I mean, I don't know if they already had yellow hair, but they gotta give them more colors. Like
Nah, I
they
don't
need to
care
chill.
about the anime that's supposed to come out. Yeah, I'm gonna sit watch it and I'll probably be hyped, but it's still like I don't care because I'm assuming it's supposed to be in between like the end of what like right after they kill Kid Buu up until Battle. No, it may be after Battle, guys. I don't know. So either way, I'm still not gonna be hyped because Battle of Gods has already happened. So it's like I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, people were complaining about the Goku versus Frieza thing because they said that Goku fought that dude in Battle of the Gods and he still had problems against Frieza. That's kind of a contradiction.
Depends on Frieza. I've always explained it kind of like Frieza's latent ability had him as the third strongest, one of the four strongest villains, like the fourth or fifth strongest villains in the series. So it's just no training. So he trained for months, and I mean it is kind of a stretch though, but it depends on how it goes. I don't know what's gonna happen.
All right, here's another question. If you ever meet the creator of the universe, what's the first question you would ask? Oof. Uh, hmm. I'm not even sure to ask any questions, to be honest. Like, it depends. It depends on the situation I'm in. I
You
mean, if
said,
I'm in trouble, I'll be like, can you forgive me?
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just mind my business.
If you sending me like the hell or something, bro. I thought you loved me.
Yeah, because like, let's say I'm in heaven or whatever, I'd just be chilling with the homies, and I probably
Watch.
wouldn't. I wouldn't know this shit.
You think there's video games out there, bro?
Yeah, I mean, there has to be, bro.
Nah.
Nah, you tripping.
GTA and
Can
stuff.
Superman really beat Goku? Uh, I mean, huge problem, right? Is people said that Goku could be Superman, and this was way before the last two DBZ movies with the last power ups and shit. So like, but right now, that argument is it's really hard to argue in Superman's favor, especially when they did the whole New 52 shit and took away like half his powers and shit. I mean, now they did, do some shit where they said, oh, the old stuff is back and whatever. In any case, it's if you bump into the right person who knows a shit ton about comics, they'll probably find some way to prove that Superman's gonna win. But I think the first thing to say is if you look at who Superman loses to on a regular basis and you compare them with Goku, then Goku should win.
Yeah. I
Because
don't know too.
that's one thing about Superman is he is a contradiction. He's just like the Flash. Like the Flash should never ever lose because of how stupidly fast he is, but he does anyways. And that's just you know and an L is an L. You know, you can't throw away the L's. Like, you know, the people are only going to count the W's. I'm like, oh, he did this and that. I'm like, all right, but I mean, does he do that on a regular basis? Yes or no?
Yeah, I I think UW brings up some great points about that because I don't know too much about Superman. Uh, but people automatically think because one of the Supermans was holding a black hole in his hand or something, like like that automatically makes him win or something. And UW said Superman does not fight fast. We all know Goku fights fast. He's not just transit speed. He can fight fast. So they said Superman was mad slow fighting. So I don't know.
You see that? That's all I'm saying. It's all just it's a shit ton of contradiction when it comes to Superman, and it's because like he can put his clothes on fast. You know, he can catch bullets and all that. You know, but
Yeah,
in terms of throwing punches, you know, he throws them just as fast as the next guy. And it is what it is. I mean, he's losing to Goku because, like I said, even if we thought we ignore all those tiny things, right, and the contradictions. If you look at the dudes that Superman faces, you know, Goku's waxing damn near all of them. You know, a
yeah,
majority of them, and that same majority have beaten Superman like on a regular basis. So
yeah.
let's see.
So
What's your ultimate YouTube goal if you ever have one? Ultimate YouTube goal would be to be on that PewDiePie shit and just get a shit ton of money for no reason. I mean, I don't really take YouTube seriously. Like you may not have noticed, but you know, if I had any goal, that would simply be it. Just get shit ton of checks, you know, for doing videos that are easy to do. You know, no effort.
yeah, I
What
mean,
could Kishi have done to make Naruto better? Oh shit, shots fired. Hey.
dang, bodied Kishiami.
Hmm. Well, for me personally, it would be to change Naruto. Uzumaki, his character, he's one character I really dislike, but I mean Naruto doesn't have that many problems really. Okay, well I think one fair thing would just be the Ninja War, like just redo it, learn from your mistakes and redo that junk. Like that's, in my opinion, probably the worst arc. I mean, it had nice moments, but just overall, you know, the downsides, it had probably the most downsides in it compared to any other arc. And it was hella long too, like goddamn 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. Like, damn. Okay, now that's an exaggeration, but that
I
shit
was about
lasted a long
to say,
time.
watch out.
Nah, I'm sure it was like 2009 or something, bro. Like, damn, that was a long ass.
I was gonna say, yo, so the series only been out for 15 years. Like,
uh,
nah, I do agree. Some of the stuff, I like Kaguya's powers. Like, she's mad strong, but she just sucked. Like, that's, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
agree. She was like, oh my goodness. I don't think he should have gone from Madara to Kaguya. Like, I think the only advantage is Madara fanboys don't get mad because they're like, oh, he just got, you know. The thing is, you would not. There's no way you'd have pleased the Madara fanboys. I mean, you could please some of them, but a majority wouldn't be happy as long as he's taking it out, which he would have taken it out regardless because he's the villain. You know, he
Yeah,
has to take it out, but I think even though he was gonna go the Kage route, I think she could have been handled way better. Like it's like you said, she was just trash. Like she was a boring character, and they just play tag. That's literally the whole Kage fight. You know, they weren't even trying to fight her, just play tag and just touch her. It's
uh,
kind of
I'm
weird.
actually I'm actually reread that whole like scene with her, cause I've been trying to remember like what was her. I know her purpose and stuff, but like what like I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't care for it like that. It was hype when Obito had like both Mangekyous and stuff like that, but like
Yeah, yeah. You don't bring a character that nobody knows. I mean, because that's the thing about Obito, right? He wasn't just he didn't just pop out of nowhere. Like Oda has been, building this character up and developing him for like a long time. Same thing with Madara. That's what makes them good characters. They're not just strong for no reason and just strong. I mean, there's more to it. But she was just a very boring character, and she couldn't even fight. She was just strong. Like she just had a shit ton of power. Like she had no fighting skill whatsoever. But another question from Fireboy is, Dre, what happened to the question thing you did in the past?
Question. Oh, the rapid fire.
Oh yeah, that must be it. You're rapid fire.
I don't know. I got lazy. That was during my stretch of a couple months where I got lazy again. I don't want to do nothing. That's why I was doing those stupid live reactions.
Are you caught up to Naruto though? Like, have you been reading Boruto?
Yeah.
What do you think about yo, that dude's about to get his ass. You see, here's the thing, right? In a perfect world, that would get his ass beat by Naruto next chapter, but I don't know, man. Shonen Jump, like, it's not just Naruto or whatever. They just have Shonen Jump in general. They have they're really good at letting you down, So I don't, something's gonna happen. Naruto's not gonna fight him. He's gonna run away or some shit. Like this whole cliffhanger, it ain't gonna mean shit. But ideally, I would like to see the Hokage Naruto, put in work.
That's all I really care about. I just want to see Naruto and Sasuke. What can they do after like 10 plus years? Everything else is irrelevant to me. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I wonder who the new villain is, but it's interesting because like this new dude has or girl or whatever has clearly stitched in uh a Sharingan, and some people are saying that it's Shisui's eye because Shisui's eyes were never damaged. But the thing is, Shisui's been dead for like ever. Like his eyes should have been rotten by now. So I don't know about that.
Nah, his eyes did. Both his eyes were gone. Danzo destroyed one of them, and then Itachi destroyed the other after he used.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. So it can be Shisui.
yeah,
So, but then the question is, whose eye is it, and where did that person get the eye from? Because the Uchihas were supposed to be wiped out.
yeah. Unless it's Obito.
Hmm.
Yo, if it's Obito, I'm dropping the series, bro. We
Nah,
saw this
nah,
man die, bro. Like,
it can't be Obito because I mean Kakashi has both his eyes anyways. So
maybe it's not an Uchiha at all.
I'm pretty sure I saw Sharingan, didn't I?
No, no, I'm saying maybe it's not an Uchiha though.
I mean, to have the Sharingan, it's very likely Uchiha. Like I can't. You have to be, and it's a bloodline thing. That's how like Naruto works.
No, you don't have to have. We got mad people that like Kakashi.
Well, no, no, no. I'm not saying that the dude himself is an Uchiha because like he clearly plucked out somebody else. I'm saying whose eye is that dude has in his socket.
Oh, oh, maybe he found Obito's old hiding spot where he had like thousands of Uchiha eyes or something. I don't know.
Wait, Chico, Obito had. Whoa, damn! I
Yeah,
didn't even know that.
remember he did the surgery on Sasuke to like give him eternal on Geku. He had like mad
Gee,
eyes like on the wall from the Uchiha massacre.
damn. I mean, that could be it then. But wait, that other dude, that dude that looked like a celebrity?
I thought you said a celebrity, but yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that dude, he isn't even a jihad too. Like he got Sharingan, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, he got it too. But they had a panel where it was like his face with his eyes, and then Sarada was right next to him, like in a perfect box right next to him, and it showed her eyes with her glasses. People were saying like maybe he has her eyes.
I don't think so, because here's the thing. The thing is, like, if you have Sharingan, it's not going to always be on, because like Sasuke has regular black eyes on a regular. It's just because
Maybe
I
he
like. Hmm?
No,
But
maybe
I do
he.
think that is some kind of foreshadowing, though. Like it can't be coincidence, you know?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But I got it. Like this dude, he was looking all badass and shit, but he couldn't even take out, you know, Choji's daughter and Salad, and they didn't even use any techniques, no Cheeto or nothing.
Wait, you said Chidori?
I mean, what else is she gonna do?
Watch out, bro. She ain't learning no Chidori, bro. She's still.
Nah, I mean, she gotta have the lightning release, bro. So she gotta have a Chidori.
Nah, bro. She ain't nice like that, bro.
I mean, it's kind of early for her to get a Chidori, but I mean, wait, we don't know, cause shit. How old was Naruto when Naruto started? Like
12.
12. Oh, and it's been 10 years. So, yeah, they're kind of behind. They're like 2 years too early. But I
Yeah.
mean, the younger generation is always smarter anyway. So, but yeah, still, yeah, she probably doesn't have Chidori, but damn.
Chidori.
Yeah, I feel bad for Sakura, bro. She didn't get nobody. Like, even Ino got fucking science shit. Like, Kishi did her bad, bad.
It's cool. I don't really like soccer.
Most people don't like her. Hmm. We still haven't seen Orochimaru, which is interesting. We haven't seen Orochimaru, and when we think about Kyrian, who else is she related to apart from? I mean, that's the only person she has any connection with is the whole Orochimaru Sugetsu Jugo thing. And in chapter 700, we didn't see any of them, you know. So
Yeah.
Orochimaru's alive and well, bro. He's scheming, bro.
He's definitely scamming.
Shit.
People,
But
some people said Naruto was stupid for letting Orochimaru go or whatever. But I'm like, yo, Naruto and Sasuke are on a different level right now. Like, I don't, unless he comes out with a crazy jutsu, like, I don't know what he can do, like, to beat them.
I
So,
mean,
like,
they can't even kill Orochimaru. They'd have to seal him. I mean, he's just too
yeah.
slippery. But the
Well,
thing is,
they
like,
could obliterate his body though.
I'm wondering, like, Karen, how many releases does she have? Does she have like all of them?
Oh, we haven't
I don't know,
seen
because
it from her.
basically, I don't see her use. Like, all she is, bite me and get chakra. I don't see why Orochimaru would want her back. Like, getting Sugetsu back, getting Jugo back, I can understand it. Why does he want Karen back? What's up with her? Maybe it's that Uzumaki shit. She's in Uzumaki, isn't she, or some shit like that? Or yeah, isn't
Yeah,
she? Yeah, so maybe that's it. There's something to with Uzumaki because other than that, she's kind of useless. In terms of making clones and DNA and all that kind of shit. Yo, watch out! This dude Jeremy Renfro saying Chocho was MVP of the chapter. Is that even that bitch's name, Chocho? Damn, no, Kishi needs to watch out. Chocho. All right, yo. So, just so the people in the chat know, Dre's thing is lagging, so he's trying to correct it. So, anybody in the chat, up to date with Naruto? What are you guys' thoughts and theories on this whole, this new villain? What's up with him? What do you guys think is scheming? What's he up to? If you have any theories, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. Um, so in the meantime, what am I going to think about? What am I going to talk about rather? Because I don't really think out loud like that.
what would you do?
Oh, hey, yo, shout outs to Eric.
What's up?
Yeah, yo, we just been, talking about the upcoming chapters, theories, shit like that, answering some questions from the chat. A lot of questions from the chat.
Oh, really? Yo, did Dre tell you about the the whole thing about are you in the will of these nuts?
Nah, I left them a long time ago. I got tired because there's this one dude, one of the admins said he said something stupid like if you think Luffy isn't stronger than someone that you're gonna get banned. I'm like, nah, I can't chill in here. 'Cause I was in there for a while, but then once I saw that admin do that shit, I was like, nah. With this dude as admin, I ain't gonna chill in here. No way.
Nah, yo, I made a video. I don't know if you saw it. It was like how strong is Shanks? He's the weakest Yonko in the crew, or not the crew. Out of the four, that's what I was saying.
Hmm.
And the only facts I brought was Shanks got scarred by Blackbeard, and he was
Hmm.
ready, but Thatch got had to get killed, by getting stabbed in the back, and he's only a second, like a division commander. So like Shanks has to be the weakest Yonko. That's what I was saying, and they just got so pissed. You know what one dude said?
Uh,
Shanks and Whitebeard are physically on the same strength level.
I mean, where did that come from?
Cause they
Because of
said,
class, I guess, right?
yeah. But I was like, yo, if they really went all out in a class, there should be no ship. Like I
Yeah, that was that,
expected.
that was nothing serious. Now the thing is, Shanks is super strong though because he used to battle Mihawk and all that. But I mean, he ain't no Whitebeard. People are tripping, bro.
I someone said that too. Like Shanks, someone was like, yo, doesn't that he was saying that Shanks was weaker back then, right?
Yeah.
Which is true because it's like 10 years. But I'm like, I mean, Blackbeard was probably weaker too, and like I was like, but that has nothing to do with anything because like the last time Shanks and Mihawk fought was when he had two arms,
Hmm.
so he had to have been somewhat strong. Like,
Jeremy in the chat says that Kishi needs to rename the manga to Sasuke or Uchiha's because it seems like half of the manga revolves around them. That is true. That is true. Very true, actually. Especially post time skip. Like Naruto's Hokage, like doesn't. I don't see how Kishi's gonna twist it so that it revolves around Naruto. Right now it has. Naruto's in the sidelines. He's just being Hokage and watching shit because none of his family members are involved. I don't know, but yeah, that wouldn't be that would be fair if you called the if you changed the name of the manga to Sasuke or Uchiha's. In fact, Uchiha's would be the best name because like there's more Uchihas popping up.
yeah,
Yeah, you got any theories on the new so-called Uchihas, the
me, I have
villains?
no clue. I mean, I'll say this on live stream. I don't care, but I don't know shit about Naruto to be honest. I just know like how it ended. I told you like I recently just finished the Pain arc. Like
Oh, 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 oh. No, 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 no. I'm in a similar boat. I won't say I don't know shit. I know some shit. I just don't know the tiny details because I did a lot of skimming. Because there was a point after the Pain arc where I dropped Naruto and I couldn't be bothered to catch up on like to read every single page of all the shit I dropped. Like because when I got back into Naruto, it was mainly through curiosity because it wasn't really spectacular when I joined back. It was just about curiosity. Like, okay, it seems like this thing's about to end. Let me see the ending. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much what happened, really. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened in the Ninja War arc, but for the most part, I didn't care about it too much. There's a lot of garbage in it too, so they kind of cancel each other out.
like same thing with what is it called? Hold on. Yeah, I heard you. You getting in trouble. What was y'all talking about?
What do you call it? We're talking about the Ninja War arc. Fireboy asked a question: did anyone see Yoha back with the super observation haki? I guess you must be talking about them eyes. Other than that,
Hey, yo, you seen the meme of that?
yeah, I seen them, and that's people taking it a bit too far.
That joint had the Mangekyo Sharingan. It had the Gias. What else did it have? Like,
What's going down, man? Is this a live stream?
Well,
yeah,
Hello?
yeah, it is. But I don't know where Kiiro went.
Hmm.
me it died. We don't know. Yo, what's good, you dope?
Hey, what's good? What's the topic of discussion this time?
It was One Piece. Now he's talking about Naruto, and then I guess he go talk about the chapters or something like that. What he expects or something.
I mean, I've said this before. I think, in all seriousness, though, about Kishimoto's writing style, I think either for him it's better to be episodic, kind of sort of how this one's semi-episodic, or a shorter series like I don't know, kind of sort of how the Baki series are, because I mean that's almost what happened with the Naruto series, and I think that's why a lot of fans, but I still say they cut it too short, man.
Wait, what the
Wait.
heck? Yeah, it still says it's live, though. I don't...
No,
What
it
the mess?
doesn't. It doesn't kick off until like he can't come back.
Oh.
So that's my stream now. No, I'm just playing.
I own this. I run this. But yeah.
No,
Yeah, I think Kishimoto's better with. I mean, long series aren't for everybody. Kubo's pacing is just horrendous. And just keep it real. You should have, like, he should have done monthly or something. I don't know how to explain it with Kubo, man.
you really think his pacing that bad, bro?
What'd you say?
You really think his pacing is that bad?
But I mean, it's the slowest pacing I've ever come across. It's horrendous. Literally, when I'm talking pacing, I'm talking story-wise. You go by some of them chapters, though, Dre. Literally, less than 5 things happen the entire series, the entire chapter. Like sometimes only like 2 things of significance actually happen, if that. That's not good pacing. That's horrible. One Piece's pacing is so, because Oda tends to put in a bunch of crap, which is good. It just makes the story slow. Naruto is slow, but it ain't too bad. You know, it got a lot of action up in there too. You know, it is what it is. But Bleach's pacing is slow for no reason.
Holy sh...
But the amount of content that he has is slow for no reason. When I mean content in each page, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Sometimes he be having big it looks like a cover page, but it's a
Hell
page.
yeah. Unlike, let's say, Hajime no Ippo, like martial arts genre, right? They'll do a lot of, you know, not too many panels per page, but they're fights. So it's fast. You feel what I'm saying? The chapter feels short, but
It makes sense. Like, yeah, you got to. That's what I was telling one person. They're like, "Yo, how'd you catch up to Hajime no Ippo?" I was like, "Yo, if you really think about it, like some fights go like 10 rounds. Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be like multiple chapters, like per fight."
right. But Hajime no, well, I'm on one. I could be farther, but Ippo's pacing, it's not too fast, which is actually good. It's good pacing. Ippo has great pacing for what it is.
What is this?
He doesn't drag out a lot of, at least with Ippo, early on, he doesn't drag out a lot of fights till later rounds. He like does a lot of 1 round, 2 round, 3 round. Because if they were more, oh hell no. Like,
Yo,
it would take too long.
the most interesting person on that show to me, I think, is Takamura, though.
Is who?
Takamura. the
Oh,
beast too.
I'm reading the manga. Okay, so I may be having a different experience. I don't know.
Have you seen him fight yet? Like for the
I've
title
seen him
belt?
do a couple. He's very. What I like the most about Takamaru, he does a lot of comedy, but sometimes he go overboard. But what's the best part about Takamaru, at least earlier on, I say I'm 120, 130 chapters in. I'm around 130 chapters. So I'm past
Oh, okay.
to in Thailand. Ippo is about to throw hands in the A class. He's about to face the second rank fighter in Japan in his weight class. But the best part about Takamaru is his analytical side towards the fights. Like,
Oh
I
yeah, he
understand.
notices everything.
Even for me, it's beautiful. And for those who don't know what the hell is going on, he breaks it down, which I love.
But if when you hit, he's gonna fight someone named Brian Hawk. Watch the actual fight, cause that was like one of the best fights I've seen in anime.
Which one?
It's gonna be Takamura versus Brian Hawk.
Oh yeah, that might be down the line for. That sounds like it's going to be down the line a little bit, which is fine.
Yeah, but I'm
I
saying
ain't
like
gonna-
once you read it or whatever.
Cause my whole, I'm not saying the anime is bad. It's just my experience with anime when it comes to action. Sometimes, like they try to over dramatize and sell it. I don't have. This is me, okay? I don't have to get sold if it's a phenomenal fight.